What you're about to experience are my opinions and truths. I'm suggesting they're possibilities for you to consider, in which you can then come up with your own logical conclusions. Welcome to all of you great decoders around the world, male and female, wherever you're at. My name is Logan, and this is Decode Your Reality. And today we're going to be breaking down and decoding some sacred geometry. This will be the flower of life. This has been a massive request from so many of you. And this is the second decode of this topic. I decoded this a while back, years ago, but this is the most up-to-date information on this. I have a lot of aha moments, a lot of wow, jaw on the floor moments. So let's jump right into this and get started with this presentation. Again, just put on a pair of headphones, block out the outside world. This one's going to be a gem, I promise you. Let's jump into this. I want to just kind of start off with the website here for sacred geometry, right? And the overlapping circles grid. And there's so many ways to make the flower of life. You get the triangular lattice, you get the hexagon shape. There's a lot of sacred geometry shapes in here. The most popular, the 19 circles, the 19 flower of lives with the number 27 attached to it, which is currency and gold and all that kind of stuff. But really the big takeaway for this is this person here, Martha Bartfield, who is an author, and she had an independent discovery of this design in 1968, and she started just with a circle and just multiplied the circles and created the shape out of that. So I started to dig a little bit. I'm like, who is this lady? I couldn't find much information. So is it just a pen name, and is it just a made up name? It could be, I don't know, but there's no death date here. When you click on the images, you're going to get a whole bunch of books here. So that's just the first thing that I grabbed for this Flower of Life Decoded here. And here's one of the books. How to Create Sacred Geometry Mandalas. Martha Bartfield. Notice that it's 46. And this is why the Flower of Life is tied right into our DNA in the double helix. How about that? Starting off with a bang, the 46 is the mirror of the 64, which is the possible codons in our DNA. Just right there, just from an author from a book. I don't know if the lady's real or not, but why would they try to dupe you and screw you? Anyway, I'm not going to get into all that stuff. Let's have some fun, ladies and gentlemen. That was the intro for this presentation. All right, let's get into the topics of conversation. Number one, hex, as in hexagon. Number two, we're going to do some more Prometheus. Wait till you see this stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Number three, netties, why? And then the last topic, short and sweet, Flower of Life, 19. Remember what else they attached the number 19 to? Remember what else it was attached to on the world stage? Take a wild guess. See the link now? You think it's possible that, there's any kind of synchronicity there with that? How big of a shape this is? The Flower of Life. It's all sacred geometry. It's using, there's nothing evil about this, folks. Unless, of course, you may want to make it into that. But anyway, let's get into the first topic now for this presentation. Hex. And we get into the hexagon. Because if you do 19 Flower of Lives here, which is the most popular, which is what I'm going to be breaking down. Wait till you see what I found. Oh, man. I don't think anybody's ever done it this way. But it's a 31. And the 31 is a very important number. It's 3.1. It's tied to pi, and it's also tied to mathematics through the primes because 31 is the 11th prime number, which is tied to sodium, tied to boron. It's a very, very interesting number. I'm going to come back to that number 11 here in just a little bit. But let's start off with some really hard evidence here on what it means to be hex. The hexagon, tied to sacred geometry. If we do the alchemology of the word hexagon, which is, if you're new, you're taking numerology and then the output of the numbers, you're putting it and matching it with the elements on the periodic table. So we have boron 4 times, hydrogen, lithium, nitrogen. Then we go to the trusty calculator, we add up the atomic masses, and we get the number 65.14. And as I often like to do, I like to add up these two numbers, and we get an outcome, and we get a subtle, clue here, and it's 79. It's gold. So the hexagon is tied to gold. And how big is gold? Gold currency. Mankind's being used for the gold currency. It's lead to gold. I'm going to be showing the lead here in just a little bit. So this is tied to gold here, folks. The hexagon, and of course the 19 flowers of life in there. The 19 circles. Okay. And what about when we bring the 65 into the golden ratio? How big is golden ratio? Wow. 65 appears at digit 30 and 31. This is going to include the 1 point. If you do remove that, it'll give you a different outcome. 29 and 30, that's going to give you 59, tied to the words, the game of life. The contract with God is 59. Okay, but it's 30 and 31. And how big is the 30 and 31? What is 30 and 31? Bam! It's tied right to promethium, which is, I have a topic on that. How about that? 65 from the hexagon holding in those 19 flowers of life, tied to promethium and Prometheus. And I got some information on that, some updated information. So let's go back to the hexagon 31 being tied to the number 11 through mathematics. 31 is the 11th prime number. And this is so valuable. How big is this? Because the flower of life, ladies and gentlemen, is tied to our DNA. Absolutely, because then we go into the 2 base pairs. If you haven't seen my DNA Decoded, please go check it out. Got a lot of people that supported that. Thank you all that watched it. One of my favorites. But these are the 2 base pairs through their initials. The common initials, ATGC, that they pair up. And it's the number 11. See how beautiful that is? So it's tied to the hexagon, the 2 base pairs, and the flower of life here. Okay? Through mathematics and numerology and science. And then what about when you go and break down the single digits? Go scrape it all the way back. Forget the 11. We're going to get into the 56, but it's the 1433. When you say that, it becomes the number 82. And those of you that have been following, what's 82? It's lead. So, of course, yeah, I decoded lead many times, but I really highlighted it in my decode of Lucy, one of my previous decodes not too long ago. Lucy decoded the movie 2004, but it was much more than just the movie, obviously. But you could spell out some of these words on the periodic table. One of the words you can spell out is the word Lucifer. You can spell out Lucy too. And when you take the protons and you add them up, you get the number 207. That's going to tie right into lead. Lead to gold. We become lead down here. We become a bag of bones. Lead is in the Earth's crust, folks, before we ever got here. And you get lead poisoning, you can die. You get shot by a lead bullet, you can die. Where do we get all this information from? Why was lead used for bullets? Who created them? Who came up with the idea? It's really interesting, all these things to take into consideration. And then if we say the numbers 1, 4, I already said that's 82, but if we bring it into the string of the golden ratio, I lost my place. If we bring the 82 into the golden ratio, it's occupying digits 19 and 20, which is so fascinating, ladies and gentlemen, because 19 and 20 is tied to this word right here called Halel, hell. You know what this word is, folks? It's Lucifer. This is the original spelling of it in the Hebrew, the only verse in 14 verses 12 Isaiah, the only one. This is the 39. It's going to be 75, 39, 12, 3. But 30, how about the 39? There it is, folks, 39. And these right here, 19, 20 equal 30. So you could clearly see how Lucifer's tied right up to the 82 and lead. And of course, a lot of people associate it with Saturn. I think it goes far beyond that, but there's the connecting point, massively connected. And now you know, that's why I say be the best little devil you can be. Be the best little devil you can be, folks. Your desire, your ego, etc. It's tied to your DNA. Tied to the two base pairs. Good cop, bad cop. That's how I see it. That's just how I see it. And these are kind of no-brainers when you bring them. And this is where we're living in a predestined, scripted reality. You don't have a choice. You don't have a say in the matter. It's already been built into the software. And if we go to the double digits, or the digits added up, AT is 1 plus 4 is 5. CG is the 33 and it's 6. And now we have 56. How big is the 56? So our two base pairs, that's tied to the flower of life, sacred geometry, tied to the biology of mankind, is spirit into matter. And look at the outcomes, folks. Spirit is 19 and matter is 20. Well, what does the number 82 look like in the golden ratio? Occupies digit 19 and 20. It's the 19th and 20th digit. Spirit and matter. Into is just a filler word. I mean, this could be the star. Spirit being the star into matter. If you do the tarot, it's the sun, the star, and then judgment. If you're a fan of the tarot, and you're now playing the game of life through spirit into matter, and you're now playing the game through the movie. See, Earth is a movie set. You're inside of a movie, folks. You are. You're the star. Well, many people are not. Not you, though. You're the star, but most people, well, just gotta have fun with this reality, folks. Don't take it so serious. Life's a joke. I know it's tough. I know there's challenging times and hard times. I know that. But, you know, you can complain your whole entire life and just live a life of victimhood and all that stuff, or you can change your direction a little bit through maybe some of the smallest free will that we have. But there's the 56, lights, camera, action. Spirit into matter means you become a movie star. And Earth is a movie set. And it's just clear right as day with the two base pairs, the abbreviations of them. So the 56 is pretty big, right? Tied to lights, camera, action, spirit into matter. The speed of light is 56. So if you say the words 56, look at what it becomes. 30 freaking 1. 31. And why I have these 2 days of the year highlighted here in the middle is because of the two base pairs. When you say them fully, adenine, thymine, cytosine, guanine is 106. The 106th day of the year on the calendar is going to occupy April 15th and the 16th when you take the leap years into consideration. What's 15 and 16? 31. 56 is 31. How about that? You go all the way back up to here and it's hexagon, the hex, surrounding those 19 flowers of life and tied to Prometheum. It's all right here, folks, tied to Lucifer, spirit into matter, being an actor or an actress. What about the cards of illumination? How ridiculously scripted we show these cards. April 15th, April 16th, look at what the cards they are. 5 of diamonds and 6 of diamonds is the 50 freaking 6. I mean, as the great Nigel used to say, you can't make this stuff up. You can't make this shit up. Miss you, Nigel. Anyways, 56, there you go. 31, two base pairs. That's how big the movie is. Spirit into matter. You're playing out the movie through your DNA, through the flower of life. Sacred geometry is all embedded into this. And man didn't code this, I can promise you that. Too complicated. So we're going to get into the next topic now called Prometheus. I hope you've watched my Prometheus Decoded already. But the reason why I'm bringing Prometheus into this, because it has everything to do with our DNA, because the two base pairs, when you say them in numerology and you break it all the way down to a single digit, this is kind of like Chaldean reduced. Adenine, thymine, these pair together, that's 51. 5 plus 1 is 6. Cytosine, guanine's 55. That's going to be a 10, which is going to reduce down to the number 1, 61. And what is 61 tied to? The golden ratio, folks. The golden ratio, which fits right into our DNA and the flower of life and nature. Real nature. Real things you can measure in nature. The golden ratio. 61, right there. You're tied to the golden ratio. Gold to lead to gold. Energy harvesting. And it's unavoidable in this reality. And then you get into Prometheum, the 61st element. It's just so amazing to me. I mean, I don't know how else you'd even measure. So this movie right here has a lot of merit. 2012, Ridley Scott, Prometheus. I just watched it about a month ago again. And this is the beginning scenes. And does this have any merit? Did Ridley Scott, was he tapped into the source code? I mean, was he getting some nuggets? This is the engineer, folks. When you go to numerology, engineer is 31, which is the same thing that's tied to the hexagon. I mean, is that an accident? Of course not. 3.1, 31 is 3.1, that's pi. Pi and phi, 4.75. 75 is Lucifer, 4 is the building blocks of life. I mean, there's so many other ways to look at this thing here. And then remember that when we did the hexagons alchemology, we ended up getting the 65. 65 in the string of the golden ratio occupies digit 30 and 31. That's going to give you 61. So there's a huge amount of a huge amount of merit going to Prometheus. Prometheus in the Greek mythology was responsible for molding men out of clay, men and women out of clay. I mean, there's got to be some kind of truth to this story here versus it just being, all BS. There's got to be some truth to this. I mean, pretty much no-brainers and led to gold again. I mean, you know what happens is he drinks this and then his DNA and he kind of implodes, falls into the waterfall, and then it goes into the water and the rest is history. Water is 18, Jesus is 18, Christ is 18. I mean, how much more evidence do we need here to realize what's going on? So here's the average atomic mass for promethium, 145. So we bring that into the string of the golden ratio again because it's 1.61. It's got the 61 right on there after the decimal. And is it a prime? Is it a big number? Of course it is. 145 occupying digits 859, 860, and 861. 861. It's the hierarchy of the 61. But the 859 is a freaking prime number. It's not only any prime number, it's the 149th prime number, and then I go as deep as I can. Is 149 a prime number? I chase it as far down as I can go. You bet your bottom dollar it's the 35th prime number. And what's 35, ladies and gentlemen? Simulation. You see? That's why the simulation theory has a lot of merit to it. It has a lot of say in this. We're living out Earth is a movie. You can call it a simulation all you want, but you're in a movie. That's the simulation. It's a movie, holographic, you can call it whatever you want to call it. And man didn't code this. We're just along for the ride. So 149 being the 35th prime number has a lot of say in this. And, promethium has many isotopes. One of them is 149. But it's also this element right here that also carries the 149. That's why a lot of these elements, they have the same atomic masses. You just got to know what you're looking for. And it's complicated. It's not as easy as just looking at it and saying, oh yeah, this is it. This fits. There's a lot of bleed over into these numbers. That's why you may have heard me say a lot of times, numbers encroach. So this 35 is really big because it's going to be tied into the you're on television. Because gadolinium, the 64th element, the GD element, I mean, how much more obvious does it need to be? God's on television. You're the star of the movie, Truman Show. It's all been told. And this, the reason why this is used is because they used to make television screens with gadolinium. It's 157. 57 is the Truman Show. It's the 157, the hierarchy of the 57. 64 is the possible codons in our DNA. Doesn't get any more clear than this, folks. And a lot of you have been what is up with this? So 61 bleeds into the 62. What's up with the samarium? Well, it's going to be tied to dimethyltryptamine. A lot of you have been waiting for this DMT. There's not a lot to this, folks. I wish I could provide 50 slides on it because I got a lot of traction on this, but there's just not a lot of information that I can, really provide to you. But here's really the breakdown of it, the most basic, the deepest I can go really with this through the numerology. Dimethyltryptamine, 62. And it's tied to the element samarium. Remember, 62 is a mirror of the 26. 26 is source. 62 is going to reduce down to the 8. 26 is going to reduce down to the 8. That's 88. Has a lot of say in this. 6 is carbon. 2 is helium. Okay, there's a lot of ways to break this down, but it's tied to the simulation. So when you take DMT, if you ingest it, smoke it, whatever, you take it and you go into La La Land, you go into the My Little Pony show, okay, you're entering a different fractal. You're entering a different reality. You're entering a different simulation. That's all you're doing. You're altering your reality. You're in a simulation right now, and then when you ingest psilocybin or DMT, you're going into another simulation. That's exactly what it means here, folks. It's exactly, so there's the DMT for all of you that have been waiting. And I got more coming out on it. I know that I'm going to be bringing some more out on it because there's cards involved and stuff like to give you the picture. But this is it. It's means simulation. That's exactly what happens when you ingest it. And it's tied to our DNA, folks. It's a fractal. This is a Mandelbrot set we live in. If you don't know what Mandelbrot set is, go do a Google search on it. So going back to the 2 base pairs and Prometheus and the 61, the 6 and the 1 golden ratio. What about the cards through the tarot to get the picture? How beautiful is this? I mean, seriously, how beautiful is this to the 2 base pairs? It's creating magic through the lovers. I mean, when you procreate, you create another double helix. So those of you that hump and make kids, well, you're in the bedroom doing the magic, doing the bump and grind, creating a little magic in the bedroom or in the shower or wherever else you're doing it. This is how funny it is. This is why God's a comedian. The people that created these things, man, they didn't create it based upon this is the foundation. No, they just created it and this is just all in bed together and how beautifully coded this whole reality is. And so if you know what you're looking at, so this is what it means to be a human being. You're creating through magic. That's all of us are doing. We're here to create. You're creating. Some create shit, some create blessings, some create good stuff, some create bad stuff. But it's, if you're a human being, you got here through somebody humping, all right? I mean, the most of us anyway, unless it was like a petri dish or scenario or something like that. But this is so beautiful. And then if you actually say them, the lovers and the magician, look at what you get. I mean, do we need more evidence here? We're living in a simulated reality. We're living in a scripted reality. You're on television, folks. You're on television. You're creating your magic, maybe by doing the bump and grind, being a human being, being in a partnership, marriage, whatever. But it's all about energy exchange. That's what this whole reality is based upon, energy exchange. Even the magician would be here. This is what you all are in your first house of astrology, which is going to be Aries by default. No matter how many planets you got there, maybe you don't have any at all, you're still going to have Aryan energy tied to you, which is ruled by Mars, which is testosterone, and everybody has testosterone here, and you're going to be creating through the flower of life, through DNA, through the magician. And he's raising his hand up, or it's raising its hand up because it's pulling the energy from the sun. That's why it's got the figure 8. 19 is the sun card, 19 is the 8th prime number. It's the infinity symbol. It doesn't get any more obvious than that. But you're on television. These are more supported pieces to this scripted reality. What about bringing the cards of illumination, the typical cards of a 52 deck playing card deck? It's a tongue twister, along with the jokers. It's the 6 of hearts and the ace of hearts. 6, and this is right here, December 25th. Those of you that are born on Christmas, 6 of hearts. 6 is carbon. 6 is tied to the Mary Magdalene, tied to the sign of Virgo. Think about what I'm telling you here. The 6th card is the 6 of hearts, and the 6th zodiac sign is Virgo, the virgin. You're all born of virgins. Jesus was born of the virgin, the Immaculate Conception. Across the way is the 12th house of Pisces, the fish of men. That's all there. It's all here. So what Christmas means to celebrate your life. And then you get out there and start creating your magic. This is the card of the proton. This is 61. This is Prometheus right here. And the hearts in this suit are fire. When you say them, it becomes the number 88. Of course, it's a 44 and a 44. Of course. 44 is the building blocks of life. And then 88's tied to not only Ra, because you can fit Ra in there, but it's tied to Yttrium and that 39. And why I'm highlighting that is because remember, the number 82 occupies digit 19 and 20, and 19 and 20 is 39. See how synchronized this all is? And 82 is tied to Lucifer. All right? You're having a little devil experience down here. It's okay, folks. Jesus and Lucifer, yin yang. You have one good cop, bad cop. Jesus and Lucifer. Double helix. Jesus and Lucifer is 46. Double helix is 46. And now we're going to get into the next topic called Nettie's Y. What is Nettie's Y? Well, it's this lady right here. Nettie. Let me just digress. Right here, here's her name, Nettie Maria Stevens Adams. And I'm going to digress and show you what's her claim to fame. She is the discoverer. She was the first one to identify sex-determining chromosomes, the Y chromosome. The Y chromosome is what defines you as a human being. Either you're going to be male or female. It's going to be the Y chromosome that does that. See, females are XX, males are XY. So Nettie Stevens is the person who was given credit for this. All right, she was an American geneticist who discovered sex chromosomes tied to tree of life, tied to flower of life, tied to DNA. You think maybe she's it could be that she's at some lodge somewhere. She's a Mason and she's out to get you and she's doing rituals on you and maybe she's a Jesuit too. She could be a Jesuit. Maybe she went to, the Westford is a Jesuit school. I wouldn't doubt it. Just so people can say, there it is, she's a Jesuit. Anyways, that's my fun stuff. But this is her claim to fame. Nettie Stevens. Right here. And the presence of the Y chromosome responsible for triggering male development. In the absence of the Y, you're going to have female, the XX. Male is XY. This lady was responsible for that. She discovered it. And there's the big Y. And that's why this topic's called Nettie's Y. And why this? Right here. Tied to Prometheus. Tied to Lucifer. See how all this is tied together? It's tied to you being a human being. Being the best little devil you can be. So what about the 77? This is her full birth name, including her mother's maiden name. If you take her mother's maiden name off, you go Nettie Marie Stevens, 64. That's the GD element. But when you add on the mother's maiden name, called the knee name, it gives you a very, really pronounced numerology output, 77. Why 77? Well, I broke it down through my Hotel Capricorn. Decoded, which is just another name for Hotel California. The 5 band members who wrote and sang Hotel California, where they said you can check out at any time you like, but you can never leave. Their birthdays, 70. They add up to the number 77. So we have a connecting point here. So how does the Eagles, the band, connect to this lady who discovered the sex chromosomes? Because her name is 77. You're talking about Hotel California as your body. And you mean to tell me her name is 77 in numerology and these guys' birthday add up to the number 77 who sang about Hotel California? What do you think Hotel California is? It's your DNA. And they're saying you ain't getting out. I know that may piss a lot of people off here listening to this, but I just make lemonade out of it. I'm like, okay, well, if we're here, then you just might as well make the best of it instead of bitching and complaining. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I've been doing. But folks, there's no coincidences here. This is not these guys are not in bed together. They're not out to mock you. They're not out like, let's go screw people over. And let's go do this to people. Let's go get people. Let's get them. And she's certainly not in bed with the Eagles. I mean, come on, folks. We got to use logic and common sense. They're not all in on this big conspiracy out to get you. That's ridiculous. We're being used as a species, and that's it. So going further, here's her birthday and her death day. Look at what she's got, 7 and 4. That's tungsten and the wolf. The big W, tied to the sun. And here's her 2 birth cards. July 7th, 8 of diamonds, May 4th, 2 of spades. You can fit the Lucifer sigil right over the top of that. Thanks, Kevin Clark, for that bomb. And then she's got the 41st card in the deck for her birthday. Elohim is 41. Okay, but you look, obviously, what's on the cards? 8 and 2. You go right back to that lead. How big is that lead tied to Lucifer? Lucifer's tied to our DNA, folks. So if you want to bring the fallen angel story into that, go right ahead. I mean, if you go bring theology, Jesus says your father's the devil. Go right ahead and say that. It's pretty easy to see. And then if you do the numerology of her birthday and her death day, July 7th, 1861, you break all these digits down to a single digit. Look at what you get. I mean, really? 52. Prison planet. Really? And she's talking about our chromosomes. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. You see what I'm saying, folks? I look at as many things as I can. There's no way. And then even the college she went to. Right here. To discover 52. Come on. Really? To discover the sex chromosomes? 52. Prison planet. And then she's got the 77 with the Hotel California and these guys' birthdays. No way. Mankind is not coding this, folks. We're living in a scripted, predestined reality. Just enjoy the ride. And so it's really all about the sex chromosomes, right? Sex chromosomes is 63. It's going to be a 60 if you remove the 3, if you just do it singular. And that's going to be tied to neodymium and the 1. But 63 is really big because it's tied to the flower of life. Right? So there it is. DNA and the flower of life. It's all sacred geometry. It's all in bed together, folks. It's all part of this script, this beautifully grand designed illusion that we live in, so to speak, which is called Maya. And that's what's out to get you. It's marketing. That's what's out to get you. Not people or organizations. It's Maya that's out to get you. Okay? Because you're being used. And here are the chromosomes. Male, XY, female, XX. It's all connected. All of it. Chromosomes is 50. Tin is 50, tied to Uranus. I'm telling you, the father, it's going to go right to Uranus. But anyway, that 63 is a pretty big one. It's the 369, 639, et cetera, et cetera. So let's now move into the last topic for this presentation. Thanks everybody for sticking with me. My dry humor, my loud, obnoxious voice. Sometimes I get really passionate about this stuff. And I just try to use a lot of humor with this because I just think our reality is so ridiculously funny at this stage of the game. So remember, man, why the 19? Remember what was bolted onto that? Those words, what was that 19 bolted onto? And why the 19? Because there are 19 of them inside this flower of life. There are 19. So I'm gonna highlight them all for you. You ready? Here we go. So I'm just gonna start here at the top. You don't have to go in this particular order, and I got my numbers right here. So I got them all color coded. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. This is how big the 13 is, right? To get the first round. So you get 12 with the astrological signs, and then you get 13 in the middle. This is how big the 13 is because it's the bullseye. And then you keep going because now you add on the ones that are a little bit hidden, right? So we got the ones on the outside. Now we're going to get the ones on the inside. So this is number 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay? And this is what it looks like when you put them all together. 19 flower of lives. This is the most common, the most famous, and it's tied to the hexagon. And the hexagon is 31, and engineer is 31. This flower of life is our DNA, folks. That's what it's tied to. And why the 19? Why 19? Well, I'm going to show you why through this methodology. So if you take numbers 1 through 19 and you add it up, you get the number 190. It's just a 19 with a 0 behind it. It means infinite potential. And just, how big is the 19, folks? How big is that 19? I'm going to go to numerology. I'm going to show you. Look how big the 19 is. It's tied to this word right here. Battery. It's tied to this word right here. Apex. It's tied to this right here, the 1 and the 9, which is the 33. So there you get the Christ in there, the age of the Christ. This is going to tie to your spinal cord. Okay, it's going to tie to your spinal cord, folks. That's how big the 19 is. So it's just a hierarchy of that when you add them all up, but it's get the 19 right there. And we go to alchemy to get a deeper meaning now. And we get this element called iridium. And iridium is from the Greek goddess called Iris, which is from the rainbow. So I have all the colors of the rainbow here because what are we? We're called human being. Hue-man. If you go here, it's hue is light, hue, and then man. And there's the 26. And what is 26 tied to? Source. You see? And hue is a 7. When you break it all the way down, 7. And then man is going to be a 1. So you get 71. And what is 71 on the periodic table, ladies and gentlemen? Do this right in real time. What's 71 on the periodic table? Those of you that are new to this. Lutetium, Lucifer, Lucy. See? Oh, you bet your bottom dollar that's what it means. Just from the 77. And this is tied to our eyeball. And remember, it's tied to Hotel California. It's tied to Nettie And the lady who discovered the sex chromosomes, 77. So we have 77 here, sex chromosomes. The 5 band members that wrote Hotel California, 77. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. And now you get the 19 flowers of life, and it's tied to the 77th element. How about that? You think this is a coincidence? Folks, this is ironclad source code information. And iridium is tied to the iris, and this is tied to your eyeball. Okay? That's what this means, iridium. Those of you that are into iridology, you're dealing with the eyes. The flower life is tied to your eyeballs, as above, so below. Stargate, eyeballs, flower life, DNA, the whole kit and caboodle. And since there's 19 of those, it's going to be tied to this element called potassium. Kalium in Latin. Potassium, 19. And the 19, when you add up the 19 and the 77, since they're in bed together, it's going to give you think about this now. 19 and 77, 96. Curium. Curium. What is the 96? Yin Yang. What do you think this is? The Yin Yang. Good cop, bad cop. One side is white, one side is black. Tied to the flower of life, ladies and gentlemen. And then if you say the numerology of curium, that's going to be 22. Just like Michael fighting the dragon. Michael fighting the dragon. Michael fighting the dragon in the flower of life. The word organic is 22. The word natural is 22. There are 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet. The letter V is the 22nd letter in the English alphabet. The V and the A go together, forms the double helix. The V and then the A. It's just so simple to see this. And then you get the dragonfly. See, iridium this is the icon used for the Royal Society of Chemistry. The great dragon girl hurled down. Okay? That's the sine and cosine wave. It's from the sun, folks, because the 19 is tied to the sun. So there are 19 flower of lives in here to form this amazing shape. And the 19 is tied to the sun. It's light slowed down into physical matter, making up the flower of life, making up your DNA, making up good cop, bad cop. And it has so much to do with this element called potassium. So as I often do, I take all 3 numbers. This is the most abundant atomic mass for potassium, 38.96. The percentage is the most. So 19 plus 38 and 96, 153. And just like that, you're on television right here. Gadolinium. And you get the story of the fish. Jesus, Luke 21 verses 11. Cast your nets to the right side of the boat and you'll catch all the fish. And they caught 153. It's the hierarchy of the 53. It's 153. And it's the GD element. And this is the icon. You're on television, folks. That's what it means to be. You're inside of a movie set. And this is you on the horse. And you come in here as a little bouncing baby. And you're pure. Not for long, though. That's what this means, ladies and gentlemen. That's how beautiful the sacred geometry is, tied to alchemy, mathematics, the tarot. Light slowed down into physical matter. The sun has so much to do with this reality. Photosynthesis, moving pictures, etc., etc. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so that was it. That was Flower Life Decoded. And I would love to hear what you saw. Keep your comments coming. Just keep them cordial. Again, we're all about loving here. Thanks for sticking with me. Not everybody makes it to the end. Only about 15% of you will. So if you did, congratulations. But I'd love to hear what you saw. Keep your comments coming. So that's all I got for today. My name is Logan Ford. Decode your reality. Till next time, we will see you later.